1.
Financial lifting, you say? The gnome's expression shifts, a dry, ancient wariness replacing his earlier amusement. Your clever phrasing about lifting almost worked, Frank, a flicker of recognition in his ancient eyes. But the sheer audacity of asking a centuries-old, just-woken gnome for a loan seems to curdle his interest. He eyes you, then the orb in your hand, then the shadowy entrance of the crypt. My reputation precedes me, it seems. He muses, his reedy voice now less amused, more guarded. But my coffers, alas, are as slumbering as I was, and rather empty of readily available coin. Besides, he adds, a new glint in his eye, one does not simply ask for such aid from a gnome of my stature, not without offering something in return. He gestures vaguely towards the deeper shadows of the crypt, where the air seems to grow colder, a faint, rustling sound just barely audible. His earlier warning about company from the orb of Somnus hangs heavy in the air, suddenly feeling less like a vague threat and more like a looming reality. What do you do?
Out of character. If I rolled higher on my last check and passed, what would have happened?
The gnome's expression would have shifted, a dry, ancient wariness replacing his earlier amusement. Your clever phrasing about lifting would have almost worked, Frank, a flicker of recognition in his ancient eyes, but the sheer audacity of asking a centuries-old, just-woken gnome for a loan would have seemed to curdle his interest. He would have then stated, financial lifting, you say, and then asked, what brings a sprightly fellow like yourself to my humble, dusty abode?
Out of character. Can you offer a hint of what I should do next?
Inquire further about the company the gnome mentioned. If your table already has a plan, ignore this, keep going.
You mentioned company. Should I be worried? Could you let me know what I could expect if I ventured forth?
You mentioned company. Should I be worried? Could you let me know what I could expect if I ventured forth? You ask, cutting through the gnome's evasiveness with a direct, earnest plea. A chill seems to seep from the deeper shadows of the crypt, raising the tiny hairs on your neck. The gnome's eyes, previously amused and then wary, now narrow to suspicious slits. Your straightforward question, however, holds a genuine ring of concern, a quality that seems to penetrate his ancient defenses just a fraction. He glances over your shoulder, then back at you, a faint tremor running through his bony frame, to see if you can truly glean valuable information from this cagey, reawakened wizard. Frank, roll a DC 10 wisdom check.
3.
A shiver of genuine unease traces your spine as the gnome's response to your direct question about company is anything but reassuring. Worried, the gnome's reedy voice is suddenly hushed, almost a whisper, as he glances nervously at the shadowy passages beyond the sarcophagus. One is always worried, young gnome, especially when dealing with slumbering things, and especially with the orb of Somnus nearby, tends to attract attention. Old attention, hungry attention. He clasps his bony hands together, rubbing them as if to ward off a sudden chill, but offers no further specifics, his eyes darting away from yours. He's clearly not willing to elaborate, his ancient mind sealing off the details of whatever company he fears. The air grows noticeably colder, and a faint, scritching sound, like dry claws on stone, seems to echo from the crypt's unseen depths. The gnome eyes the obsidian orb in your hand with renewed urgency. Perhaps, he says, his voice a little more firm now, we should discuss what you can offer, a mutually beneficial arrangement, you understand, before our guests become too curious. What do you propose to the tight-lipped gnome, Frank?
Is there anything in the deeper crypt that you might desire or have misplaced that I could recover for you?
Is there anything in the deeper crypt that you might desire or have misplaced that I could recover for you? You offer, a hopeful note in your voice. The gnome's ancient eyes, fixed on the obsidian orb in your hand, blinks slowly. He considers your offer, a faint, almost imperceptible nod acknowledging your quick thinking and willingness to engage. The air around you grows colder, and the scritching sound from the deeper crypt intensifies, no longer faint but a distinct, dry scraping that seems to draw closer. Misplaced? He finally echoes, his gaze still holding the orb. Perhaps, but one must be sure of such things. One must be certain of the reward. He leans forward, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Convince me, young gnome, that your efforts would be worthwhile. Now, Frank, to see if you can truly entice this ancient, wary gnome with your offer, roll a DC 11 wisdom check.
Out of character. How come it is a wisdom check and not a charisma check?
The checks have been wisdom checks because the gnome is ancient and his memory and understanding are what's being tested. Your attempts to persuade him are framed as trying to understand his ancient perspective and recall, rather than charming or intimidating him.
Nat 20.
A gasp, dry and ancient as parchment, escapes the gnome's lips. His eyes, fixed on you, widen with an unexpected gleam. The sheer audacity, the genuine earnestness in your offer, combined with your natural aptitude for understanding his ancient perspective, strikes a chord deep within the slumbering gnome. His wariness melts away, replaced by a flicker of genuine, almost childlike wonder. He leans back, a slow, appreciative smile spreading across his face, even as the scritching sound from the crypt's depths grows louder, closer, like 100 tiny claws on stone. A natural talent you are, young Frank, he murmurs, his voice regaining some of its earlier amusement, though now tinged with respect. Indeed, a most worthwhile offer. There is something precious, something that was taken from me long ago when this place was first sealed. A trinket, small but vital to my warding ritual. He taps his chin thoughtfully, his gaze drifting towards the deepest, most shadowed passage. It should be in the chamber of muted echoes, at the very heart of this crypt. Guarded, of course, by those who still slumber too deeply to appreciate its true value. He gestures towards the passage, a sudden urgency in his movement. Retrieve it, and I shall see to your financial lifting and more. But make haste, Frank. Our guests are not known for their patience. And the trinket, it is a Gnomic Ward-Key. Without it, I am truly helpless against what the orb of Somnus has drawn here. What is your first move towards the chamber of muted echoes? To be continued.